Okay, now we're going to discuss here the labeled immunoassay. So, the labeled immunoassay is just immunoassay where you are detecting for particular antigen or antibody with the use of your reagent being labeled by either an enzyme. Pwede siyang, pag nakalabel sa kanya enzyme, the process here, the type of immunoassay called this was your enzyme immunoassay. Pag ang label niya, for example, is radionucleotides as radioimmunoassay. Pag ang label niya is fluorescent dye or fluorochrome, that's your fluorescent immunoassay. Pag ang label natin, it's your chemical reagent, that's your chemiluminescence. So, pinaka-mini-measure natin dito will be the activity of your labeled na substance. So, mag-react siya doon sa ating, or magko-combine siya sa ating reactants sa antigen antibody complex for us then to detect the presence of your antigen antibody. We are using the labels in order for us then to increase the surface area of your reagents in order for you to visualize your agglutination reaction. Okay, we have your types of the immunoassay. We have your heterogeneous and we have your homogeneous. Ang pinagkaiba lang nilang dalawa, pag heterogeneous, you have the washing steps. Washing steps is to remove the unbound na protein or the unbound na complex or the unbound na protein. So, example ng heterogeneous natin, like for example, your Western blot, diba, immunofixation, meron siyang washing step, making that one as your heterogeneous. Pag homogeneous naman, hindi tayo gumagamit ng washing steps. Example ng homogeneous ng mga test kit natin, like for example, your pregnancy test kit. So, the procedure na, mag-a-add lang tayo, diba, ng ganito lang siya, mag-a-add lang tayo dito ng sample natin. Okay, let it, diffuse, then eventually magkakaroon ng precipitin line or bond without washing. So therefore, this one is considered as your homogeneous. Okay, another principle here between your labeled immunoassay, we have the term competitive and we have your non-competitive. Okay, pag sinabing competitive, so we have here, for example, your antigen. Okay, this is your sample here. Then we have your monoclonal antibody as one of your agent. Then, another one, we have your anti-human globulin. So, para siya naging carrier natin. Where you try to add your label. Ang label natin, pwede siyang enzyme. Ang label mo, pwede siyang, okay, fluorochrome. Then, we have here your, pwede siyang radionucleotides. Okay, pwede ang label mo, basta lahat ng, pwede siyang for your chemical reagent. So, mamimili ka lang ng ililabel mo dito. Pag competitive, ganito lang siya. If your sample contains the antigen, magbabind dito sa monoclonal antibody. Pag nag-bind na ito, okay, this no longer free, ang site niya, binding site, and therefore this one will not bind. Pag hindi ito nag-bind, since sa labeled immunoassay, ito ang mini-measure natin na activity nito. Okay, like activity of the enzyme, activity of your fluorescent lights, activity of your radionucleotides, and activity of your chemical reagent, your chemiluminescence. So ito, pag ang sample mo mayroon siyang antigen corresponding with specific antibody in your reagent, so your labeled na anti-hemoglobin here will not bind. Pag hindi ito nag-bind, okay, so since ito ang pina-measure natin, so decrease activity nito. Decrease activity kasi hindi siya nag-bind, di ba? Pag decrease activity, so ang sample natin may antigen, so this is your positive. That's competitive. So, meaning to say, the concentration of your substance could either be antigen or antibody, ang measure mo is inversely. Inversely proportional, such a way na pag decrease activity here is because you have your sample. Mean to say you are positive for that. Okay, pag increase activity naman, like for example, pag negative ang result natin. So, pag negative ang result, your sample here wala siyang antigen. Okay, what you have here, your monoclonal antibodies or agent, and ito ay magiging free, di ba? Pag free ito, magbabind dito. So pag nag-bind dito, it would have an increased activity. May measure natin. Increased activity nito kasi nag-bind siya. Pag increased activity, so increased activity, okay, we consider that one as negative. Increased activity ito kasi wala kang antigen. That's competitive. Okay, the next one, we have your non-competitive. Okay, your non-competitive, on the other hand, so again, your non-competitive, you have your antigen, your sample here. Okay, then we have your monoclonal antibody plus your anti-human globulin may naka-label. Pag non-competitive naman, so ito, saka ito ay hindi sila nagko-compete. So like for example, if your sample is positive with antigen, magbabind siya dito sa monoclonal antibody natin, then you have an antigen-antibody complex. Once you have your antigen-antibody complex, magbabind ito. Magbabind lang ito if you produce your antigen-antibody complex. Pag nag-bind ito, since you have your antigen-antibody complex, that will be increased activity. Increased activity ng enzyme, pag enzyme ang label. Increased activity ng fluorescent dye if you are using the fluorescent immunoassay. So that's positive result. So mean to say that's directly proportional. Okay, for example naman, let's say for example negative ito, wala kang antigen. Pag wala kang antigen, ang monoclonal antibody natin is free. Tama? Pag free ito, you are not able to form an immune complex. Wala kang antigen antibody complex. Pag wala kang antigen antibody complex, ito hindi magbabind. Okay, kasi wala kang antigen antibody complex. Pag dito magbind, decrease activity. Okay, then we consider this was negative na result. Okay, that's your competitive saka non-competitive. Lahat ng labeled amino acid natin, the principle of that could either be competitive or non-competitive. Basta pag non-competitive, it's inversely proportional as to the concentration. Activity of your labels is inversely proportional to the concentration of the substance you are monitoring or you are detecting in the sample. So, mean to say, pag increase activity, negative ang result natin. Pero pag non-competitive ang ating assay, so it's directly proportional. So mean to say, pag mataas ang activity ng mga labels natin na mini-measure, then the sample here is positive for that. So we measure the labels here is either, paano natin may measure ang labels natin? Pag enzyme, you could perform the spectrophotometry. So you could have your visual inspection, light scattering, if that one is your, for example, your fluorometry, particle counting with your radioimmunoassay, colorimetry, radioactivity, fluorescence, chemiluminescence, and many other instrumentation. Okay, the first one, we have your radioimmunoassay. Okay, the radioimmunoassay was first identified by Yellow and Berson. And this is the type of the immunoassay where it uses labels in the form of your radionucleotides. Ano may example ng radionucleotides? You could have your iodine 131, iodine 125, and your tri-shaded hydrogen or 3H. Among the three na radionucleotides, ang pinaka usually ginagamit would be your iodine 125. Iodine 125 is actually siyang pinakagamit because this one is able to emit here higher gamma radiation. At therefore, since sa mataas na higher, siyang pinakamataas na gamma radiation, it will be easy for you then to measure the concentration. Okay, the principle of your radioimmunoassay, still ulit, competitive din siya. Okay, competitive or non-competitive. So we have discussed already, pag competitive, di ba? Increased radionucleotides Okay, this is your negative result. Okay, decrease ratio. Okay, this is your positive na result. Pag competitive. Pag non-competitive, on the other hand, so increase radio. Okay, this is positive. So, pag decrease naman, so this is your negative. So, basta competitive, inversely proportional. Pag non-competitive, will always be directly proportional. Okay, we have your example of your application of the radioimmunoassay. We have here for detection of your IG in the case of your allergic reaction. So may tatawag tayong RIS. And we have also your RAS. RIS stand for radioimmunosorbent test. What you are detecting here will be your IgE as your antigen. RAS naman radioallergosorbent test, so detecting for IgE as your antibody. Okay, so ang reagent natin dito, since we are detecting for antigen, so we have your monoclonal, okay, IgE, anti-IgE. Still, meron ka pa rin anti-human globulin with your iodine 125. That's your label. So, pwede din siya competitive, non-competitive, same principle pa din naman. Pag competitive, basta ang result niyan is inversely proportional. Pag non-competitive is directly proportional. Pag RAS naman, since we're detecting for antibody, ang reagent natin is your monoclonal, okay, IgE, okay, as your antigen. But still, you still have your anti-human globulin labeled with your iodine 125. So again, pwede rin ito na competitive saka non-competitive din. Pag competitive, so inversely proportional. And then pag competitive siya, pag non-competitive, that's directly proportional. Okay, the next one, we have here the enzyme immunoassay. Okay, the enzyme immunoassay, on the other hand, make use of the enzyme as your labels. Most likely, gumagamit na enzyme na labels, we have your alkaline horseradish, alkaline horseradish peroxidase. We have also here your alkaline